In this episode of Negative Modifier, we'll be playing the game Delta Green. Delta Green, by design, tackles various mature themes that may be uncomfortable or triggering for listeners. Listener discretion is advised. Alright, so you go into the fishing spot, you're just kind of driving down the path. Well, where are you going, I guess?
I think we're going to
drive down the path.
Alright.
Do the fishing path. Yeah, fishing spot.
Yeah, so you drive down some. It's a little bit bumpy. It does seem like the road you're going on, despite being a dirt road, does get some traffic. You see some tire marks of some other kind of large truck vehicles. As described, you do you find this little kind of turn off pretty easily. It's very obvious. Yeah, it's nice. It's shady. Like, it's definitely seems to drop off really well, deep wise, in the kind of little like hole he described and stuff. There's plenty of space for your car. Just kind of like get out of the car and leave your stuff there. What's the plan?
I kind of want to make it look like, we kind of set up, like pull out some folding chairs, our fishing tackle and all that stuff.
Sure.
Put on our fishing, disguises.
Well, so I guess my follow-up question to that is, you have guns in the car. You got to hide them. You got to take them out of the car and put them somewhere else. Like, how far are you taking this cover, I guess?
Oh, I'm taking the gun, but I'm going to put it in a bag.
On your person?
Yeah. I'm taking a little submachine gun.
All right, so the other guns. So we've got a shotgun and two AK-47s. What are you doing with those?
I also have two pistols, but they're on me.
Yeah.
AK-47 is going to be mighty hard to hide.
You could bury it hypothetically or something. Like there are ways of hiding that stuff in a temporary setting. Like you could just find some tall weeds and toss them in there. I guess I'm asking, are you leaving them in the car? Are you going to have them on you at this point in time? What you doing with them?
I'm going to leave mine in the car, and I'm just going to bring my pistol.
Okay.
I'm here. I'll take the pistol. Maybe we just kind of... Yeah.
Do you think I could...
on the feet or something like that?
Yeah, if we lock it, that should be reasonably secure. I mean, there's no one else out here. I think, I don't know if any of you disagree. Do you think I could justify carrying my shotgun? I mean, there are gators.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, so the plan is to kind of set up a little fake fishing situation?
Yep.
All right. Yeah, so you successfully do that. About an hour passes, and someone give me an alertness check, or everyone give me an alertness check at once.
90 failure.
3 success.
41 success.
I got a critical success.
All right, so Agent Jumper hears it first, but everyone but Jackal somehow kind of slowly hears the kind of crunch of boots on dirt and maybe twigs slowly coming towards you, and kind of not trying to be stealthy. You kind of hear them from probably, say, 100 yards out or something, the sounds of people coming towards you. Jumper gets a sense that at least one or two people, probably closer to 5, just based on the kind of racket they're causing. And kind of from down the road behind you, there are 5 kind of military cosplayed up individuals that emerge from kind of that end of the road. They're wearing camos, they're wearing tack vests. All of them have some military grade looking hardware. It's about what you'd expect given what you've been told about this organization. They kind of strode into behind your vehicle. They're very much deliberately kind of blocking the vehicle with their bodies. Maybe not the smartest move, but also none of you are in the car, so And one of them steps forward. Can I help y'all?
No.
No, we're doing just fine ourselves, thank you.
Let me rephrase my question. What brings y'all to this neck of the woods?
I hold up my fishing pole.
Yeah. Mighty interesting you found this spot to fish when there's so much of the Mississippi to fish off of. I'm going to ask again, one more time real pleasantly, and then I want a real answer. Can I help y'all?
I mean, I'm not... if we've found ourselves on private property or something of that nature, I do sincerely apologize. We just were told that this was a good area where we could, catch some fish and not run into too many folk.
Well, you are technically trespassing on the land of one Joseph Haskin, but that's not really a big problem normally. It's just quite strange you found yourself here of all days. What you fishing for?
Catfish. Samuel said this is a great spot to find them.
Oh, you talked to Samuel, did you? How is that old son of a gun? He's still ugly as all hell?
I kind of give him a hard look. I mean, that's not very nice. He's a nice gentleman.
And so they are kind of tensing up. Like, they definitely do seem to be somewhat unhappy or suspicious you are there. They are heavily armed, too, for the record.
If you, gentlemen, need us to leave, we certainly didn't mean to be on a sort of private property. That was a mistake on our part. We just took some advice as to, again, where we could fish, and this, it didn't seem to be that we were disturbing anybody.
This guy's kind of walking around, kind of gets closer to your cars, like looking in the windows and stuff. You hid one of the guns in the car, right?
I think we hid
both
the AKs.
Yeah, so whoever did that, whoever in theory was responsible for the AKs, give me a disguise check.
I guess that was me.
That was me.
Need a disguise check from both of you.
98 out of 10 fail.
That's me. Yeah.
That's Peter.
Oh, okay. 96 out of 10 fail.
Slightly better, though.
These AKs were not well hidden at all. So, like, this dude sees them. AKs, Ruski weapons for fishing, huh?
Well, no, we're not fishing with them. They're in the truck.
Now, what am I to think? That you just happen to be here with some admittedly inferior but definitely military-grade hardware. On land you're not supposed to be on, in a deserted town, essentially. When we have it on good authority that someone was poking around at the police office looking for our organization. I'll ask again one last time, Pleasant, and, well, then I suspect things might get a little bit tense. Can I help y'all?
Jumper's gonna pull out her press badge.
All right, so he's kind of like, he's a bit confused by this. So, so that was actually probably a very smart thing to do in this case, because the cover you did give at the police station was you are indeed there doing press stuff. That's actually a surprisingly good cover in hindsight. So, the guy's kind of taken aback by this.
All right,
Holy shit, your actual press?
I hold up my hands at the press badge. I'm like, listen here. I was just following up on a story. I invited a few of my friends. I didn't want to get anybody in trouble here. Can I just get a statement from you about what your organization's, their objectives and goals and your mission statement, really?
Okay, give me a persuade on that one, actually. I'll give you a plus 10 because you actually have I'll give you a plus 20 because you actually have the badge, would you? Plus 20, not minus 20.
I succeeded.
Yeah, so this dude is thrown. Like, you are indeed pressed. These are indeed press credentials. Like, this all, like, seems legit. He thought, like, probably, like, in his mind, like, press was probably some, like, federal agents or some bullshit like that, poking around trying to find whatever's going on, and you're actually press. Like, actual press credentials. Holy shit. Wow. Miss Black, is it? We got our name from our friend back at the police station. I mentioned you were talking to him there. Okay, please look at your badge. Yeah, we didn't realize you were, well, in the nicest way, ma'am. We didn't realize you were, well, real. I suspect that, Big Joe would love to talk to you. We've been trying to get the message out for a while now. What's with the AKs?
Like I said, these are just some of my friends, and I've never been down here. And, I just asked them to come. and they were going to take me some fishing and just make sure I got home okay.
If I may be so bold, Miss Black, would you describe your friends as like-minded individuals?
They're open-minded, yeah.
Excellent. Okay. Yeah.
To be honest, sir, we heard a couple rumors about exceptionally large gators in these parts. We're licensed gun owners, but we thought we'd bring them just in case.
Amen to that. Guy's just actively flustered through all of this. Like, none of this has gone the way he thought it was going to. It's like, holy shit, it's press. Holy shit, like, yeah. If y'all want to follow us back to the camp, we can show you around some, I guess. Like, we've been reaching out to various organizations trying to, legitimize ourselves and our message and show that we're here to stay. Wow, today's the day, I guess.
All right, yeah. Would love to. Love to have this opportunity to not only find out the true message that you're trying to give out, but to get a sense of your leader and what type of man he is.
Yeah, so just follow us back. It's about a half mile farther down there. We got some ATVs kind of parked ways away up there. Surprised you didn't hear them coming up, but yeah. So you guys get in your truck and follow them.
Guess so.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you follow them. They kind of direct you down to it. So this camp is indeed, camp is the right word for it. So as you're approaching, you see about what you'd expect. It's a bunch of white supremacists out in the woods kind of playing soldier. Like, people are positioned at guard posts. There's not a lot of organization, but it sure looks like they know what they're doing. There's some makeshift structures. There's been some shipping crates that have been turned into other stuff. Like, they're trying to replicate what they've seen in media and stuff of like a military base of some kind, and it's kind of just a sad dress-up version. There's not a lot of them there. There's maybe like 15, 20 people there, tops. They've slapped some labels on some stuff to make it seem more official. There's, As we're going up, actually give me a search on that so you can kind of see what you're seeing.
Everybody or just
whoever?
Failure, Jack. 80.
Best jet lag. 47 out of 72.
50 out of 72. Success, Jotun.
I got a success as well.
Man, Jack, you're just sleeping today. Maybe it's the lighter or something. That's jet lag. Sorry.
Somebody either fails all the time, or
yeah. So as you're kind of pulling up, you see some kind of very cleanly marked buildings, because that's of course what people would do in this situation. You see a building that's like, and by building I do mean like a shipping crate or kind of like a temporary structure marked barracks. A big tent marked town hall. Like a weird kind of shanty thing marked jail. And more importantly, kind of on the opposite of where you enter, on the river, there's this big derelict kind of looking paddle boat, like a big one, like one you'd like have like a couple hundred people on, potentially kind of like pulled up on the shore with an opening. And it looks like it might be working, but it's also like a little bit weirdly decorated, maybe. Like, it's also showing its age some. The paint's definitely coming off of it. Like, there's a legitimacy to the town aspect of it that's a little bit weird, but also like it's completely just kind of bullshit at the same time.
Like almost what you'd expect from this is a Wild West town, like sideshow.
Yeah, it's the moment of, if you were Googling like how to make a compound, like this is the picture. We needed this and we needed that. Like, there's just trenches dug around it for no real reason. Like, there's 20 people defending this place from an actual assault would probably be quite easy, but they've convinced themselves like, yeah, this is a fort. We got this fort. Yeah, we're awesome, kind of thing. And as you're pulling up, Jumper, kind of give me a right one for this. Give me an alertness check as part of this, kind of now that you're pulling up to this town and stuff like that.
You got a 7 out of 40.
Yeah, so no one's quite as bad as dear old Samuel Baskel was, but you do see a couple of the people in the town. So you're noticing there's a big division of the populace. There's the very obvious kind of gun-toting raw people, which make up, we'll say, 13 of the people kind of milling about here. And then there's around 7 people that, like, again, there's something, like, medically wrong with them. Maybe they're a little bit hunched, their proportions are a little bit off, there's, like, one eye is a bit too big or a little bit glassy looking or something like that. Like, again, not anything that, like, is overtly, oh, that's nightmare fuel, or, like, completely wrong, like, but it's like, medical abnormalities, maybe signs of inbreeding or something like that. Every kind of, we've all seen the kind of stuff that might be referenced in this case, like all the stereotypes you can make about the South are a little bit on display in these people. They're not the majority of the population, but they are there, which kind of does seem a little bit weird. Like, maybe they have some, like, patchy hair going on.
You said, like, there's, like, 20, like, camoed up people. Are they also, like, the camo and toting
No,
guns?
they are quite separate,
like,
in fact. Yeah, that's actually a good question. The kind of malformed people, I'm going to call them from now on, they aren't kind of all the camoed up. They are just kind of, like, there. Like, maybe you describe them as kind of the normal town populace, I guess, and it's, yeah.
Their clothing and attire, does it look like something they may have, like, gotten from a crappy old thrift store, or is it?
Yeah, it's modern clothing, like it's normal kind of usual clothing for these people. Like maybe it's a little bit tattered and stuff like that, but this is backwoods. Like everyone's a little bit tattered. Yeah, I'll kind of retcon it and say like Samuel Bascom's attire wasn't necessarily kind of striking in itself. It was more just the guy was weird looking, I guess.
Right.
One of them's a big fan of Affliction or something. I don't know.
Maybe it's part of their occult-like thing where they gather.
All right, so you kind of you park your truck. What's the plan?
Well, guys, we got to scout the place. Here's the moment where either A, we keep up the ruse and go on in. B, we come out gun blazings, or C, we hightail it out of here. I'm up for either all the options, except for B, really. I don't really like the whole guns ablazing thing.
Not seeing a super high need to kill everyone here right now.
I think we're also a little bit outgunned. There's 4 of us and 20 of them. I think we should keep up the ruse, maybe go see this Joseph Haskell and maybe learn more about what you guys are doing.
As long as we've, seen and might as well follow through with it. I'm frankly surprised that stunt didn't get us all killed, Jumper. That was
I was
plenty
trying
clever.
to defuse the situation.
And that you did. And that was plenty clever.
All right, keeping up the ruse. Got it. I'll go ahead and get out of the van.
They're trying to get the word out. We saw that poster half torn in that novelty shop.
All right, so kind of like proudly striding out of this little compound thing is this like 6'5", like guy who at one point was definitely in shape, but is not anymore, but still thinks he's really in shape. Like skinhead, wearing an American flag shirt with no kind of sleeves on anymore, kind of thing. Like mix and match kind of tack gear on top of that. Like all signs point to this guy being probably in charge. Like he's real proud to be here too. Like he's kind of waiting at the gate, hands on his hips. Like, yeah, I own this place.
Yeah. I will walk up to him.
Welcome to Torres, Miss Black. I admit we're kind of surprised to see you here, but we're just ever so pleased to finally have an official representative of the press take us seriously. My name is Joseph Haskin. I own this land, but you can call me Big Joe. Most people do. Where would you like to start? I'm going to have to ask that your friends do indeed leave their equipment in the car. You're under no threat here unless there's something else going on. Where would you like to begin?
Well, for one, I'm just pleased that we finally were able to find you. If you want to, we could sit down and just have a discussion about your message and how you founded this organization and what your goals are.
Please,
so I can get the word out.
Join me in town hall. Will your friends be joining us there, or will this be a one-on-one interview of some kind?
Oh, yeah, no, they'll be joining me.
All right. Yeah, so you kind of like you walk through and he's pointing stuff out, and they're well equipped, but not like amazingly well equipped. Like again, like there really is an aspect of this of we Googled how to make a compound, and this is the pictures that came up. Like the more here you are, the more kind of who has military science? I know Jackal has that. You have that, right, Jackal?
Yeah.
Give me a military science check.
18 out of 60 success.
These guys are not disciplined. Like, this is kind of a joke. Like, this is really kind of people in the woods pretending to be something they're not. Like, you walk by a couple people that don't even have magazines in their guns kind of thing. Like, it's really for show and a little bit sad as you're making your way through there kind of thing. Like, and it's, but it also kind of, as you're making your way through, it's kind of weird that this is what Delta Green tagged as a potential point of interest kind of thing. Like, they're not dangerous. Like, they're dangerous in the way that kind of it's an idiot group full of idiot people, but like, there's not enough of them to really be taken seriously in any measure. And it lines up with why they're trying to recruit via pamphlets maybe or something. Like, yeah. Someone give me an occult. If anyone has that kind of a decent occult score.
I've got 12.
Yeah.
Do you want me to roll it?
Yeah, it's probably the highest of the entire group.
Yeah. I also had military science, just not as high.
Yeah.
So
I got 50.
Failed.
In occult skill, you have 50 in occult?
Yeah.
All right, so.
But I failed as well. I don't know.
Yeah.
98 ain't gonna make it.
Quite stands out perfectly, but there is, like, as you're walking through this place, there are some kind of. There's some weird stuff, like, kind of like Blair Witch Project style, like stick figure kind of things every once in a while. Like, their choice of decoration, there's occasionally just things that don't line up with their separationist, liberty, compoundy thing. Like, they're not well made, they're not especially interesting or anything like that, but they are kind of there, and that seems to be a little bit weird. And you do kind of notice a couple of those things were, yeah, there's a consistency to all of it. You've never really seen these objects or these kind of symbols before, but there is a deliberate cohesion to all of it. And you do remember seeing some of these symbols on, like, the pamphlet that they kind of, you saw their name on, or that was tagged as part of their name. You do remember seeing kind of this stuff on that. And there were some of these things were scribbled on some of the notes you saw in the pictures that he handed over to Miss Pine at the end of the last operation. But yeah, nothing kind of like immediately pops out at any of you for all this.
I have a question about the, you mentioned before the deformed people.
Yeah.
Would it be obvious to us that their deformities are similar to the deformities you described on Sam Baskell?
Yeah, but again, like I think of it more along the lines of like a genetic deficiency or kind of an inbreeding type of situation. They don't have like lobster claws or anything like that. It's more just, like, I hate to say it, but it's a Down syndrome type of situation. It's very obvious. You see what's going on, kind of thing, instantaneously. I'm not trying to knock Down syndrome people, but they're a good example in this instance. Like, it's a very obvious, hard to miss difference, I guess. They're not like growing tentacles or like have extra heads. They're just kind of like, oh, that person looks different. Got it. All right. So yeah, you go inside, and Big Joe does his whole kind of spiel, very proud of what he is, et cetera, et cetera. You know the gist. I'm not going to go through all this because, yeah, fuck them. But yeah, so they're not pushing anything supernatural necessarily as part of this. They're just kind of your run-of-the-mill white supremacist. Do you have like a journalist ability, Agent Jumper? Something that kind of lines up with your experience of journalism?
Yeah. Okay, so I have art journalism.
Yeah, so give me just the art journalism check at this. This guy is so full of shit, his eyes are brown kind of thing. Like, he's constantly contradicting himself. Yeah.
He's just spewing, like, what... Is it more like he's just spewing what he thinks I expect him to say?
Yeah, like, but he's also, like, contradicting himself constantly. Like, I would go so far as to say, like, the way he's talking, kind of as he's talking, he's just saying this shit to say this shit. Like, that might be worse in some ways than actually believing it, but yeah, like, this guy's just coming off as just a bumbling idiot. Like, can't can't get impassioned. It like has no charisma ultimately through all of this. Just kind of like it's like he's reading a Wikipedia entry on it almost. Like it's just kind of, again, like it's kind of sad, and you're like, okay, yeah, whatever. Like if you're pretending to take notes, you probably like slow down, stopping to take notes. Like it's very obvious this guy just is like, it's people in the woods pretending to be something they're not actually. They are, but they're like completely kind of dysfunctional as a result of this. Like again, they're not especially dangerous. They're not really well organized and have a cohesive thought. Like they're probably like part of the reason probably your whole ruse worked is they're like really desperate to be legitimized as a result of this. Like they think it's really cool they have an inn at the police station kind of thing. Didn't think to maybe run your name or anything like that, or even Google you hypothetically. But yeah, no, you're getting a good sense of this is kind of like it's real, but also kind of laughably silly in the kind of its execution, how behind it they actually are. Which again kind of adds to the weirdness of it's here, like it's real. Like the fact that it's kind of like this half-assed and this real is also kind of a
Now, in addition to the core, the typical separatist white power spiel that he's given us, is there any like religious tones? Like, does he bring up anything odd or strange?
Doesn't mention it. Like he's kind of sticking to the by the book footnotes you'd get, but you could definitely ask him about that. Like they have a pretty unique name. Like they are witnesses of the alligator. Like they are Tomoisi Crocodile.
I'll let him go into his whole spiel and everything, and then as he's getting to the end of it, I'll go, well, I'm just really curious about one thing. Your name of your organization. I mean, it doesn't seem random. Like there seems to be some kind of message or meaning behind it. What is that?
A human int check on that, actually. I'll even give you a +10 on that one too.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
Got a 19 out of 50.
Yeah, so he is very kind of like obviously like was not prepared for that question. Like he kind of like is taken like not aback, but like he's scrambling in his head to come with an acceptable explanation for it. We have a lot of Louisiana pride, and we're known for alligators here. Like people always think alligators, they think Florida. But that's just not the case. We have them here too. We're just kind of we witness things. We're Louisiana. Like we're watching the world go to shit around us, and Creole's a thing down here, so we came up with Tomoisi Crocodile, witnesses the alligator. Yeah, that's all.
Is he BSing me or?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, he is. Yeah, this is some,
utterly lying. Okay.
Yeah, this is some last minute scramble and trying to come up with an explanation as to why they have this very specific name.
Now, in this, when he's lying to me, do I get the impression like he didn't actually know the answer, or he's trying to come up with a plausible other answer?
The second one, plausible answer that would make sense with what he's been telling you, kind of thing.
All right. Well, I mean, Jumper won't, bring that up. Just jotting it down. Will nod along. Agree with everything he says.
Yeah.
Giving no indication that she thinks this is all.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, and well, after that, she'll say, and you guys have done remarkably well here out in what is essentially out in the middle of nowhere. Do you mind showing us around?
Yeah, sure. We can show you the compound in more detail, I guess. Yeah, so he's gonna start kind of showing you around the place. You're walking around outside. They show you everything except the paddle boat. In fact, they do a pretty aggressive job of not like getting you close to the paddle boat. And yeah, it's what you see is what you get. They've like rigged up a whole like little fake town to play soldier in, I guess. Like it's nothing truly remarkable about the setup except for these kind of weird little things you see every once in a while. And yeah.
Jumper's gonna make it a point as like we're being led around to greet everybody. Like she's being the friendly, touristy journalists. Like, I'm here.
Yeah.
And this includes the deformed people as well. And we'll try to get like statements from everybody. Like, how do you feel about living here? How do you feel about the message that you're trying to deliver? Get little sound bites from people.
Yeah, so give me actually another one of the journalism art checks.
Okay. Got a 24 out of 60.
There is a real repetition to what you're hearing, like almost a rehearsed repetition to it. Like they're saying exactly the same thing from person to person. There's no real personality behind it. Like the deformed people seem to be a little bit more behind it, weirdly enough, but like it feels rehearsed, definitely. Like you're being fed an answer they've all agreed upon is what they're going to say.
Okay. Actually gives me a little...
Does Big Joe point out any of the weird stick figure people or anything like that?
Good question. No, he does not. He very even if you ask, he probably steers them away. Like, oh, there's the Louisiana decoration thing. Kind of hand waves it away. He's really into showing you the ordnance they've managed to get and how well built their town is and how authentic it is to the military designs they were going for. But yeah, no, he is very deliberately not talking about that stuff or the paddle boat.
Does he show us the jail at all?
Yeah. So the jail is empty. There's no one in the jail at that point in time. He kind of pokes his head in, shows you around. Anyone who's not Jumper, you want to give me a search check as you're kind of walking through there?
3 success.
All right, yeah. So Agent Jackal, as you're kind of buzzing your way through, it's mostly kind of a show jail, except for the fact that there is definitely it's faint. It's definitely been tried to be cleaned up. What sure looks like a small, not a huge one, but definitely a pool of blood or kind of something along those lines in the bottom of one of these cages, kind of thing. It's 6 kind of makeshift iron cages that someone welded together in their backyard, and at the bottom of one of those there is some blood, and you can't quite. Obviously, you're kind of blowing by it, kind of thing.
Can I maybe just sneak in? Do you have to take many prisoners around here?
Well, you know how it is. Occasionally, people show up and we have to teach them a lesson, and it's justice out here. You take what you can get. You take what you can do.
Well, after the tour...
All right, you go.
I was basically going to say, Jumper will probably end, the interview and everything, and, think of and everything. But, yeah, basically after the tour, she's planning on trying to get this wrapped up and get us out of here.
Yeah.
So if there's anything people want to do...
Well, I noticed that there's a boat pulled against the shore, but we didn't take a look at that.
Don't mind that. That's just the chapel. Nothing of interest there. It's kind of a family heirloom. Came with the land. Doesn't even work anymore.
Chapel on the water. Interesting.
Yeah, it's a Louisiana thing.
I'm sorry. Did you say that the boat is a chapel?
It once was, yeah.
So do you have an ordained minister around here?
Oh, no, we don't use it anymore. We're not into that type of thing. Maybe someday we'll get it up and running again. Anyone who's there, give me a heavy machines check.
Failure.
All right, so Jetlag, you passed. That boat has very obviously been moved in the last couple of days. There are marks of that thing moving away from the shore, and it's very obviously lashed. All signs point toward it being a functioning boat.
Okay. I don't think I would share that with the guy that I know that he's been moving his boat.
Oh yeah, no, it's keep this in mind, I guess, for kind of when you get out of here. But it's very obvious that maybe the boat doesn't work, but the boat has been moved at least partially. It's function-ish, at least. Maybe not great functioning, but it's nowhere near as derelict as he's trying to imply it is. Mm-hmm. Well, that's Torres for you. We're going to rebuild the town to something great. If you got any questions, we can be contacted. Kind of hands you a piece of paper with his number on it and stuff. If you got any follow-up questions, so yeah, we sorry about the unpleasantness down at the river, but sure we can't get you anything. Do you?
Oh no, but I'll contact you the moment I have the article done, and I'll send you a copy of the magazine that it gets printed in.
Excellent. Which magazine do you work for again?
Well, we're called the Founding Light. It's a non-profit organization on basically spotlighting true patriots in American patriots across our great nation who are trying their own way to make this nation better, like you.
Barnabas be praised, doing God's work.
Well, I'm just one journalist. We're all trying to do our part.
Understood. Well, yeah, happy trails, I guess. Yeah. You guys exit without kind of any more weirdness happening. Yeah. You guys driving off immediately? You gotta hang out in your car for a little bit? What's the plan?
Well, I mean, as soon as we get
conspicuous if we... I think it'd be conspicuous if we stuck around, if we
Sure.
idled in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So are we going all the way back to Livonia or whatever it was called? You try to stick around tonight somehow?
All right, so you've kind of the decision was to leave. Like you're driving off, you're gonna kind of find a spot to hang out somewhere nearby.
Yeah, just kind of on off the side of the road or something like that.
Yeah. So what's the plan? I guess you're gonna wait till nightfall. Like, obviously you're waiting for something because you wouldn't be staying around if you weren't. Like, what are you doing? I guess.
That's a good question.
Yeah, I kind of want to go over what you guys' opinion of this place is. Because these are my impressions. It's all BS. I don't even know if Big Joe's really the one in charge. And I think whatever it really is about in that big boat there. What do you guys think?
Well, that was my assessment too. It seemed like pretty much everyone in that little village was fed a line about the supremacy that they're regurgitated to us.
And I can tell you that boat was definitely not stationary. It had been moved pretty recently. So it is a functional boat in some fashion, at least.
Anyone else ever heard of a boat being used as a chapel? That strikes me as odd. Maybe it's not in the bayou, but I think that's a bit unusual. I've never thought of a boat as a chapel.
If it's mobile, where do they take it? Kind of what I want to know. We could stake out on the shore, hide out on the shore and see where they go with the boat. I wonder if we could get a boat somewhere.
I like that idea.
I do too. I mean, it's got to be somewhere we can rent a fan boat or something.
Yeah. Or just a boat.
I mean, otherwise we try to sneak onto their property in the night. I feel more confident in us than that ragtag team they have there, but I'd still rather approach from a different means.
I'm with you. Now, when Jumper fed him that line about being from the what would you that publication? I'm assuming you made that publication up.
Oh yeah, completely.
Yeah. So he said something be praised. Did anyone catch that?
But Barabbas? Barbarous?
Barbara.
Yeah. Is there any sort of check I can roll to see if I know what the hell that means?
Give me an intellect check first.
Just intelligence?
Yeah. Actually, no. Give me a perception check.
Oh wow.
I got a critical on my
Yeah,
intelligence.
I'll fuck it. Yeah, fuck it. You got critical on intelligence. That's good enough. He actually said Barnabas, not what you guys thought he heard. No, it sounds like, based on just kind of your general kind of understanding of the accents around here, though, it sounds very Louisianan, though.
Barnabas be praised. Okay. Does anyone have any idea what that could possibly mean?
We could maybe check with Sam Baskell. Maybe he knows. He's been around these parts a while. But otherwise, I got nothing.
Yeah, I don't know if we can trust him. What do you guys
They
think
didn't
about
s-
maybe going and checking his place out on the down low?
Well, they didn't speak very highly of him. I'm wondering if we just show up and have a, come to Barnabas with him, if that'll get us anywhere.
We could whip out our badges. We're kind of cautious to do that in the town, but
Well, I guess we don't know for sure that he's not in with them, but it seems to track. I, I would refrain from flashing our badge. I mean, the guys at the post office tell us that he was somebody that they seem to like him, right?
they seem to say that he was familiar with these parts, but not necessarily part of the group.
And they struck us as trustworthy. So if they trusted him, then the alligator people didn't seem to keen on him. Perhaps he is somebody that we can trust. I fear the blowback if he's a plant for the alligator people. And
Anybody notice that our Samuel had the same thing going on with his whole appearance as some of the other people in that encampment?
mm-hmm. That's
Yeah,
where
That would maybe indicate that they're part of the community somehow. I don't know.
although that's not severe enough to be.
and maybe that's why they're hostile to him. Maybe he was a part of the community and left.
Sure.
Or was kicked out.
Huh.
Both excellent theories.
The other thing I wanted to mention is when we were by that jail, could have sworn that there was a little bit of recent blood on the bottom of one of those little cages they had built. Couldn't tell for certain, but it seemed like they might have tried to clean something up. Just another fact. I know we know something's going on here, but
What do y'all make of those stick figures?
I mean, they looked weird, but I've never seen. I have no idea.
I didn't notice any. I didn't notice any stick figures.
They were these like, you ever see the movie Blair Witch Project? Kind of like that.
Back in the jail?
They're just around the camp.
Interesting.
Blair Witch
Okay.
Project, like Wicker People type thing.
Yeah. I know he said there was no religious thing going on, but I think there definitely is.
Yeah, if he and there's no religious thing going on, I guess people will invoke. People down here probably invoke God quite a bit, but he also said Barnabas be praised, doing God's work. I'm just puzzled by that.
Barnabas, a Bible character.
I'm thinking probably.
And if there's no religious thing, why do they have a chapel?
That is a very good point.
So are we far enough out of the area right now where we would have to go back into the Samuel's house?
I guess I assumed you kind of probably drove a little more out of the area than that, but you can go back if you want.
We could try to do the ruse we talked about earlier and go knock on Samuel's door again and tell him we got a flat tire or something. But like you said, I don't know if we can trust him.
We also got to make sure we get a boat before anywhere closes if we want one for overnight.
Right. I mean, hell, a rowboat might be best.
Yeah, I guess I keep that in mind. The boat idea is not a bad idea, but it's kind of hard to be stealthy on a boat.
So, are we agreed on the objective that we want to see where they take the chapel at night? Or we just want to scope out the place come nightfall?
I'm most curious about the paddle boat. What's on there? Who's in there? What's going on it?
I think we're going to find answers.
So we can either go by land or by water.
Well, as you pointed out, water's noisier, but would be more efficient. Land, I guess, more dangerous, but stealthier. I mean, they were fairly ragtag. Think we can sneak up on them without being noticed?
Well, I still got some old skills from back in the day. I feel like we could do it. I'd be careful about actual alligators for traipsing along the shore.
I, for one, am not the stealthiest. I'm professionally speaking more the guy sitting in the car waiting for the guys to get into the building. So
What about creating some kind of diversion? You have two of us
Okay.
light a fire somewhere or something, and the other two can scope out the place.
sure. I don't see where is that. I mean, that's an interesting idea. I wouldn't be opposed. Where would we want to start? Start a fire, draw. I mean, if we draw them off, that would. We're not going to draw all of them off,
Right.
and that would also put them on some level of alert that there's a fire. So, I mean, how close to the compound? Interesting idea. I'm just puzzled over the execution.
Right.
What time of day is it?
We'll say like 7
Probably.
o'clock. Yeah, it's start getting close to it.
And what do we do with the Camaro bench?
I think it's just in the car.
All right.
Hell, we could just take that Camaro bench and take it to Samuel and ask him if he wants it. He didn't really have a lot of furniture.
We found this Camaro bench and thought of you.
Yeah.
All right. Let's go. Should we call Miss Pine?
Yeah.
I guess that's not a bad idea.
Do we have reception out here?
Yeah, barely.
All right. Who wants? Do you want me to do this again, or who wants to do this?
So you have a good rapport with her.
Oh
I
yeah,
think
I'm
she's
sure.
a smart ass.
All right. I'll give her a buzz.
All right, so yeah, she picks up again. Agents?
There, Jotun again.
Agent Jotun, have you found something?
Well, so we were tipped off, find a Sam Baskell, and that he would know something about this Joe Haskins. We went and saw him. He was an interesting sort. Didn't look to be the healthiest specimen, and his home, if you could call it that, was barely standing and appeared to be almost vacant. So we're questioning the legitimacy of his residence. He referred us to a fishing spot as per our cover. And there we were ambushed is not the right term, but the alligator folks came up on us. And they were armed, and they wanted to know what we were doing there. And Jumper went with our cover from before at the police station. Apparently, someone at the police station had tipped them off to our whereabouts, not necessarily our whereabouts, but our had informed them that we'd been asking after them. Jumper pulled out her her press badge and convinced them that she was a reporter, which I guess she is. And then that got us into the compound. Compound was pretty sad. We spoke to Joe Haskins, or we presume it was Joe Haskins. I guess I don't have any proof of that. And he showed us around the place, gave us a line of bullshit. There's a lot of suspicious things going on there, but overall, it doesn't look too formidable. So if we were in the real compound, or I'm just not sure. Couple of suspicious things. They have a jail. Jackal said there might be some blood there. There were some weird figures around the camp. I guess I missed those, but everyone else saw them. What I consider to be one of the weirdest things, they have a big fan boat that they referred to as...
Not a fan boat, paddle boat. There's a difference.
Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry. I'm thinking fan boat. Sorry.
No,
They
no
had
problem.
a big paddle boat that they referred to as the Chapel, and they said that it was run down. But as Jetlag pointed out, that thing had been operational very recently. That was not a inoperable paddle boat. And the fact they called it a chapel and said they did claim that they didn't have anything religious going on. But they also at one point said that said that he used a weird line. He said, "Barnabas be praised." We can't place that anywhere. I don't know if that means anything to you. That's the size of it. And now we are trying to decide what we want to do next, because it's fairly obvious they're up to something. And we need to figure out the extent of it. We're thinking maybe stalking them at night, maybe creating a diversion, maybe renting a boat. Got a few ideas.
Well, tactically speaking, Agent, night's probably your best option. If what you're saying is indeed true, it sounds like a raid wouldn't be especially difficult. One of you, after all, is ex-Navy SEAL. Sounds like the perfect situation for that. Until you kind of dig up more of what's going on, the name Barnabas doesn't mean anything inherent to anything we've heard before, but a lot of strange, dangerous names out there, I suppose. The fact that you do believe this is worth our time to investigate does mean, or does at least indicate to me, that we definitely need to process this site in more detail. However you choose to go about doing that is at your own discretion.
Okay.
You described it as kind of a ragtag organization of kinds.
Yeah, they seemed pretty thrown together.
Did they see? Did you see any housing at the camp?
And speaker, or are you just talking to her?
Let's say I have her on speaker.
I thought there were tents around, weren't there? It's kind of
Yeah.
There was one big tent that was, quote, their town hall. There really weren't living situations there.
No, now that you mention it, it was just a. I don't know. You're right. There didn't appear to be any place for anyone to live. I mean, there's one big tent. I guess they could be sleeping there. But as far as compounds go, yeah, it was
based on your description, it almost sounds like they are fair weather participants. Quite possible the majority of the compound empties out at night. Only the kind of key participants might remain. I think it's quite possible you find yourself in a situation where only this Joseph Haskin actually stays at the site, because you mentioned that it was his residence or something along those lines, or he legally owns the land.
And let you know what we find. Hey, the other agents have anything else to add?
No, I
Nothing
think
here.
you covered it pretty well.
We're considering getting back to that Sam Baskell, seeing if he can give us any more information.
As you will, it's your operation, conducted as you see fit.
All right. Well, thank you.
All right, just kind of hangs up. What's the plan?
they don't really give a lot of direction in this organization, do they?
No, I
Nope.
think we're supposed to kind of figure it out ourselves.
Well, I'm kind of, based on what you said about people, filing out of there at night, I really think we should just scope this place out and see what happens come nightfall. What do you think about that? I mean, can we check it out undercover somehow?
Yeah, pull the truck off somewhere and watch the road.
Yeah,
We have
or even
walkie-talkies.
Say retroactively, you can probably. That seems like a thing one of you might have come equipped with.
I wrote it down actually. Yeah.
Okay.
I have a cell phone.
Oh, yeah, I suppose we could just text.
Yeah, that would also work. Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Okay. All right.
Yeah, we could do two of us on the road somewhere, and I'd be fine, marching into the woods a little bit to try to get a view on the camp.
Yep, you'd be my first choice. No offense, Jumper. Jet lag would be my second.
Yep, I can go.
I should be your last.
Yep. And I'm not far ahead of you. Okay, so let's wonder, do we use Sam Baskell as the... In theory, we could hide the truck behind his house if he's amicable.
I don't trust him.
Is it wooded enough? Like, is there a field or anything around that we could pull this behind some woods?
Yeah, you could. The area that you go down the dirt road to get to the camp, like it's wooded enough, you could definitely kind of find cover there quite easily. It's not just open field there. The area around around Baskell's house, that's a little more kind of open, but yeah, there's woods. Like you could definitely pull off and kind of hide the car some, or just drive far enough that you're kind of out of the way.
Well, tacticians among us, where would you like to stash a car and walk in from?
I think we should drive a little ways away from the camp, find a small wooded area, stow the truck there, take the gear all we need, and do a little walking and get to 2 outposts that we feel comfortable with.
We don't want to use the truck as an outpost?
Oh, you mean 2 people stay in the vehicle?
I mean, it seemed
Yeah, you're
logical.
right.
We'd want somebody in the getaway vehicle, right?
Yeah, that's a better call.
If something goes terribly wrong, we can come get you then. That's my thought.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, let's do that.
all right, so we can do this now. We're going to come back in a few hours. I could go for some dinner. Maybe some of those special rations.
I got a few granola bars. I mean, is it a full hour? I don't want to leave too much. I think we should stick around if we can to see what happens.
Yeah, I'm with you. Especially if we want to be walking. I don't want to be walking entirely in the dark in the forest with the gator.
Fair enough.
Special ration
right.
it is.
I will even retroactively let it be said that you all brought special rations for yourself.
Okay. You just grabbed all the cans.
Sure.
All right.
All right, so we're gonna go kind of camp out and do some observing and eat your special rations.
Yeah.
All right, cool. So
Special
who's
rations,
observing and
yeah.
who's, I guess, who's like covert observing and who's kind of his backup?
Jackal and Jetlag are gonna go covert observe, and then Jumper and Yotan are gonna be behind.
All right. Yes, we're gonna do a thing with Jackal and Jetlag then, as they're kind of like, you guys are off in the woods, kind of they snuck up to the camp or something like that.
Yep.
All right, give me a stealth check.
Are we going to decide? Do we want to do it? Do we have to do any sort of like search or disguise or anything for the truck?
Nah, I'm gonna hand wave
Okay.
that one. Yeah, I'm not too worried about that. It's more the close to the compound I'm concerned about.
And then, real quick, primary mode of communication: text or walkie-talkie.
That's up to
Texting
you
would be
guys.
quieter.
Old tech.
Okay.
Who
All right,
does?
so yeah, our
Okay.
covert team, give me stealth checks first off, as you kind of sneak up on this thing.
100.
Jackal got
Bumbo.
Jackal got a 6. That's 6 out of 50.
All right.
You only had 12.
Should have just sent Jackal. All right, so I got a little bit of bad news. You do remain undetected, but you do somehow remain undetected. But as you do kind of creep up, unfortunately, kind of Agent Jetlag trips over something and falls hard onto just a chunk of metal that was buried in the ground. Give me a 1d6 damage. All right, so you're going to take 5 HP. There's like a big chunk of metal just shoved into you for this.
Ouch. Okay.
And also a bunch of birds fly off, but yeah.
Your HP. What's your full HP?
12.
Oh, if you have armor, remember subtract the damage from the subtract the armor rating from the damage you took.
Oh, right.
It's like a 3 or a 4 typically. We'll go with 3 just for the sake.
Oh, I
of
rolled
time.
3 actually. No,
Yep.
there it is.
Perfect.
My gear 3. Okay. So I only take 2.
Yep.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Not so bad. more embarrassing than anything else. All right, so you do successfully watch the road. You may have somehow undetected despite sending off a bunch of birds with your fall there. A little banged up because of it. You witness kind of as dark falls, more people leaving the camp than not. You count easily kind of, we'll say, 12, 15 cars leave, like a couple people most of them are single drivers, et cetera, et cetera. You do at one point, though, see a car come back. And give me a... Let's go with alertness first.
Jackal 84 failure.
61 failure.
It's a little bit strange, but yeah, that's just car going back to camp, I guess. Nothing inherently off about that. Their lights were off, though, which is a little bit strange. But, yeah. No, but yeah, based on kind of your estimation of people leaving, there's at most 6 people, max, back at the camp, probably less.
I mean, did we notice that the car that came back was one that had left? Or is it a new car?
It did not leave while you were... you didn't see it leave at any point. It only came back as far as you can tell.
So do we have eyes on the camp itself, or we're just kind of scoping out the road in and out of camp?
Yeah, you do. Yeah, you probably have eyes on the camp. You probably got close enough to that to see it.
Yeah.
All right, so... Actually, yeah, with that in mind, so that's going to pull all the way... So, yeah, we're going to have a little scene play out now. So that truck pulls all the way into the camp and kind of goes up towards where the chapel is. And you do see the guy, if someone gets out of it, kind of runs to the back and pulls a wiggling bundle of something out of the back, like it's something kind of flailing about, but you can't see what's inside of it. They're having a hard time holding up. They drag it inside the chapel. They'll kind of throw it over his shoulder and carry it in. You also then see 2 other people go inside the paddle boat as well. Looking at the camp, you can maybe see like 1 or 2 lookouts, but they seem to be kind of bored and not all that interested.
Okay.
If you had to guess, you'd probably say most of the people that are there are probably inside the chapel at this point.
Okay. How about we text? Just send an update. I'm going to send an update to the 2 in the van and say, most people from encampment left, 6 to 8 remaining estimated. How about we say car arrived and a figure was carried into something in a sack was carried into the paddle boat. Do we take out the guards? Turn this into more of a raid, or just try to stay stealthy?
Well, we've seen my sneak, but if there's another way we could get in, like, is this place fenced? Could we climb a fence somewhere?
It's relatively fenced in, but like you could potentially find a weak spot or something, or try and sneak in. Like at the same time, like this is very much in Jackal's wheelhouse at this point.
Yeah, if you think you can get him stealthy, I'll wait here until you get him. I'm at home in the woods, but I'm not so at home covertly taking care of enemies. That seems more your wheelhouse.
Well, what about trying to go around the perimeter of the camp, to up against the shore to see if we can see anything that's happening in the
a little more recon.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. They're going to know that 2 of their 6 people are missing pretty quickly, I think. So,
all right, let's go check out the shoreline then.